I am originally from the accent you can hear from South Africa. Also grew up, actually was from a coastal town called Durban, for those of you who know South Africa. And, but I actually ended up moving to Johannesburg, and we grew up, but mostly my schooling was in Johannesburg. And then I went to live in America for a good couple of years, and I ended up coming to Israel in my late 20s and never looked back. So I have been in real estate for the last 10 years, primarily selling real estate in Jerusalem. But about a year ago, many of my friends were reaching out to me and saying, Kim, we love Jerusalem, but we don't want to live in Jerusalem. So where else can we go? You need to find us places that we feel we can fit in. So that's how my series started, Find Me a Community in Israel. And we really try and do nearly every week a different community in Eretz Israel, because I really believe that there's a place for everybody. And I, over the last 10, 11 months, have met the most incredible people. And just the communities, there are so many different places that people can find. If you're looking for, affordable living in Israel. People always say to me, is there only Modin? Is there only Ramat Beit Shemesh? Is there only Netanya? Is there only Renana? Where else are there Anglos living? So I've really done a lot of research, and Ashkelon has been on the list for a long time. I actually called David a while ago, who is working in the real estate world there, and said, I really want to do a call about the real estate opportunities there and what is there to offer people, because I don't do any areas where there isn't housing opportunities, because then where are people going to go? So David is on the call tonight. We're going to talk about real estate a little bit later on in the call. But I think Ashkelon is probably one of the most beautiful places. I mean, beaches are stunning, gorgeous. I was there a long time ago, and I know that there is so much going on in terms of construction and people moving there from all over the world. I know that it was in the beginning, I think probably in David, you can correct me later on, maybe in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of South Africans came. A lot of English people came. So there is quite a dominant South African community. Maybe that's why I like it so much. Anyway, but again, thank you so much for everybody coming on tonight. And how it works, it's very informal. I'm going to ask the people from Ashkelon who have so kindly come on the call tonight just to talk about who they are, where they're from, if they want to share what they do, a little bit about their family, and why they chose to move to Ashkelon. So I'm going to start with Uri.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay. Hi. I'm Uri Kelman. I've been living in Ashkelon for 4 years, a little over 4 years. I'm originally from Los Angeles, and I have a wife and 4 children, ages 12 all the way down to 6. And we live in an area called Barnea, fairly close to the beach. And I work in high tech pre-corona in Tel Aviv at a cryptocurrency company as a designer. And my wife is a real estate agent here in Ashkelon. And we really love it here. We love the beach. We love the affordability of living in Ashkelon, which is something that obviously is important. But the reason why we actually moved here is because my wife grew up here. She's originally from Los Angeles, but she grew up here in Ashkelon. Lived here from the ages of 8 all the way up into the Army. After the Army, she left and went to LA, where we met. So we've been here.
And Uri, tell me something. How are the beaches compared to LA?
Well, the water is actually warm, which is good. It is a lot cleaner here. I mean, you do get, to be honest, you do get some trash here also, but the community tries to get together to clean those up. But way better than Los Angeles. And it's just a lot less crowded than beaches you would get, say, in Tel Aviv. You get a more relaxing beach environment.
I've heard that it's a very chilled very peaceful, very calm. There's two questions I want to ask you. I'm sure other
Sure.
people will as well. Is how long does a commute take you from Ashkelon to Tel Aviv? That's number one. And number two, you mentioned you have 4 children. And pre-corona, whatever, I don't know if your kids are in school now, but tell us a little bit about the schooling and the education for kids.
Sure. So when I was commuting, the train ride is less than an hour, about 50 minutes to get to Tel Aviv. I got off in this what's called Tel Aviv Hashalom, which is there's a mall over there, and that's really the center of the high tech area near Sarona Market. So it's about an hour, less than an hour train ride. So not bad. Coming from LA, it's like we're used to commuting in traffic with less distance and traveling, longer time. So it's actually a relaxing experience to be on the train, be able to read a book and go to work. And the schooling here, so my kids go to all of them go to all different schools. So my oldest daughter's in special ed. She goes to a religious school that has a very good special ed program. And this is her 3rd school since she's been here because we were trying to find her a good fit for her. And finally, I think we found a really good fit. And then next down, my son goes to Chabad school, which when they're actually in school and actually not homeschool, it's very, very good. I don't think they figured out the homeschooling system yet, the work from a distance, but when they're actually in school, I feel like he's learning a lot. Then my other daughter's also Chabad at the girls' school, and then my youngest son, he's his last year in Gan in preschool, and he'll go to 1st grade at Chabad next year.
And how far is it from your house to the schools? Do you have to drive or can you walk?
Yes. So the schools are not in our neighborhood. So we have to drive in the morning. It takes about 20 minutes, last 15 minutes, depending on traffic, and just drop them off. And it's not bad.
Not bad.
But if it depends on where you live in Ashkelon, and in what school you decide, if you want to take your kids to any type of school, there's a lot of different options. And if you have younger kids and you're worrying about them learning Hebrew, they pick it up so fast. Like my kids speak fluent Hebrew. It's insane how their brains work. And they're just speaking Hebrew with their friends, and I'm blown away.
You say, thank God for Google Translate, right?
Yeah, they actually added to the Google app that I can actually put my phone up to any text in the market, and it translates automatically without doing anything.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's what I'm doing all day, every day is the Google Translate, because I have no clue what's going on, even after so many years of living here. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. I've got more questions, but I'm going to go on because otherwise we won't get through everybody. So thank you so much for coming on. If you can hang around, amazing, for questions. So I'd like to ask Beth. Beth was actually one of the first people to reach out to me to say, hi, I'll come on your call. And it was so lovely. You were so gracious and so lovely on the phone. So thank you so much for coming on. And you are fairly new to Ashkelon. Can you hear me?
Correct. It was a pleasure meeting you as well. We've been here a long time, but we just moved here this summer. We bought a vacation property about 6-7 years ago here. Ashkelon found us. We were just here because of my husband's work, and we found a property on the market and bought it within about 20 minutes. We were not in the market. We really didn't even have enough money in the bank. We did everything we had to do just to make sure we locked it in. We had it as a vacation property for a while and renting it out on Airbnb. Last summer, we decided, as we became empty nesters, to make the move. It got difficult and a little depressing leaving every time we had to go back to Ra'anana, where we had lived for 20 years and raised 3 children.
Wow. I know it's been hard with Corona, but tell me a little bit about why you love the community, love living there.
So the truth of the matter is we feel blessed that we made the move before Corona. because we have the whole beach community, and it's really hard to feel down when you just look outside and you can watch a sunrise or watch the kids surfing or take a walk and feel like the whole world is yours. We've never really felt a dip in our mood. Feel very fortunate to have been here. And because, like I said, we were coming before, we met some really wonderful people, a few who are, I see now on the call. Hi, guys. And it's been really nice. Everybody's, distant social gathering, and even a few kiddishes outside, and a lot of calling in, checking in, just touching base. So it's been very nice.
Is there anything that surprised you about moving to the community compared to without?
Yes. So I was fortunate that when I first came, I joined a club, and through that met a few Anglo women that have been living in Ashkelon for about 30 years.
Wow.
They're my contemporaries, a few years older, all came right after high school from all around the world, English speakers that met Israeli guys and then settled here, and they started a book club 30 years ago. They have never opened it up to invite anybody in all those years, and I was invited to join.
Oh my gosh.
And that to me has been a real treat, because it's a whole different group of women that I maybe wouldn't have met living anywhere else, and they're wonderful. And I learned a lot about the history of Ashkelon, raising kids without having the support of an Anglo community. Being in Ra'anana, it was kind of like our own little bubble. The joke is.
Excuse me, can I ask you, please? I apologize. I'm trying to get onto to see it on my computer, and I just have you on the phone because there was no password. Is there any way you can tell me the password?
Deb, you send it? Can you? I can't even see your number here. Okay.
Yeah, my number is 516. We're registered for the meeting. The name is Nathan.
You couldn't get on. Deb, do you want to send? What's your name?
My name is Miriam Nathan, Nathan. And
Miriam, hold on. I'm not sure.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's not a problem. I'll see if we can send you the link. Hold on one second. Deb, did you get the
number? We have the ID. We don't have a password to get on.
I don't know why. Should have sent you the link.
You sent an email with the link. If you go to the email and click there, it takes you, if you are already registered. After a person registers, you sent an email to say that they've been registered, and here's the link. If you go to the email, just go to the email instead of directly to the application, then in that email is a link that will bring you directly to this talk. You don't have to register again.
Got it. You have it under Hi, Arthur Nathan. You have all this, and it has the phone number through which we were able to listen through this, but I would like to see you, So
you have to go back onto the email again. What I suggest you do is go off the call and go look at the email, and there'll be a link on it that you click directly onto it.
And it will. This is Devorah. I had to go to Zoom, log into Zoom, put in my Zoom email and password, and then go to the link and click on the link. So you might want to try that. Open Zoom first.
I don't have a password separately for Zoom. I always usually join a meeting. I don't have my own. You understand? So I was using the meeting ID, which I see is 8913050.
No, you just don't use the meeting ID. Just click on the link that Kim provides in the confirmation. And you don't need an ID or anything. So as she suggested, exit the call, go back to the confirmation email, and very carefully click on the Zoom link in the email. Good luck.
All right, so you can continue.
Continue on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Go ahead.
No problem. No problem. It's totally not a problem. Try again.
If I can interrupt for a moment, I also had to go through the email and had trouble. I had to go back to the email confirmation 5 or 6 times till
I'm
I
so
finally
sorry.
got the
You
video.
know what? We'll take care of it. We'll try and look at it for
Yeah,
future
so
for the future.
Other
Thank
times
you for
I've gotten
pointing out.
right in, but today it was different. Thank you.
I understand, no problem. Sometimes it happens like that. Even I myself sometimes have problems. I don't know why, but sometimes it does give me a problem. Okay, so let's move on. Stephen. Hi, Stephen. Stephen Epstein is really an awesome person to know if you're going to move to Ashkelon, because he has the most incredible website that gives you all the information about Ashkelon. So I am so happy you're on tonight. And I looked through your website and it's great and amazing. So kol hakavod for doing that. So welcome.
Thank you. We actually built the website as a way to get to know the city. We moved here 6 months ago. My wife and I and the 2 daughters made Aliyah 15 years ago from Toronto, from Canada. And we moved to Rehovot, which is an amazing, amazing city. Great community, great little Anglo bubble. And after kind of experiencing Rehovot, we decided to venture out and look for another city. Our girls had just were in the process of finishing high school. Both are in the Army now. One's in the Navy. And we took a look at Ashkelon and we fell in love with the city. It's just an amazing, amazing community. The city proper is about the same size as Tel Aviv, but it has about a quarter of the population. So as a result, there's tons of green space. It's just the roads are 2-lane, 3-lane roads, and there's hardly any cars on them. It's built for a city with a much higher population, which maybe one day it'll reach, but in the meantime, it's just a pleasure living here.
That's so nice. And so Stephen, your children are how old now?
Our oldest is 33, lives in the States with his wife and kids. And we've got a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old.
So who's in Israel?
The 20-year-old and the 18-year-old are both here. One's in the Army and one's in the Navy.
Okay, and what made you just decided that you wanted to just change from being in Rehovot? Because Rehovot, by the way, is a beautiful community. I did a Zoom call on that. If anybody wants more information, it's fabulous.
It really is.
It's such a different, it's so different.
It really is. It's an old city, not as old as Ashkelon, which is about 5,000-6,000 years old. A great community if people are Dati. And the Burmese community is very, very supportive. It's like having an instant family. We had spent 15 years here and kind of felt more Israeli, more open to venturing out. And we kind of looked for another community. We loved the beach. And we thought maybe we could have the best of both worlds, live where we play. And we looked at properties here. And there was such a difference between prices in Rehovot. We were able to sell our apartment in Rehovot and buy something twice the size here.
Wow. 5
minutes from the beach. And it just, you can't compare the two in terms of pricing.
Amazing. I want to encourage people, ashkelon123.com. I put it on the chat. Check it out. It's awesome. Unbelievable. And just kol hakavod for doing something and making it available to people, because the first thing when I did a search on Ashkelon was your website that came up. So it was really impressive, and you did something that was needed for the community. And I think it's very special to take initiative like that. So amazing. We're going to come back to you. I wanted to ask Laura, one of my very special friends and partners, who runs an amazing organization. Some of you have been following all our calls, usually see Laura's brother Rafi on the call, but Rafi had other commitments tonight. So Laura is joining us to talk about an amazing, for anybody making Aliyah, even if you're in Israel, you can work with them as well, Olim advisors. Please share it with your friends. If you're making Aliyah, as I said before, this is an organization you absolutely have to know. So Laura, thank you so much for coming on. Good to see you.
Hi, everyone.
I know you have also something you need to get to, so I didn't want to miss an opportunity to introduce you and Olim advisors.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, great.
Okay, so I think I slept on Ashkelon Beach. I think I must have been 18 and I fell in love with it. It's a beautiful city. I I'll give you a quick history of where I'm from. I'm also like Kim, South African. Don't sound so South African. I'll tell you in a moment why. Come from a very Zioni family. So we came here, I was 2 years old. We lived in Ramat Poleg, when Ramat Poleg was just beaches, no buildings. And then we moved to Rehovot, a beautiful city also. And I had a wonderful childhood here. And then at the age of 10, my parents decided that we're going to go to the States for a few years. It was a short-term plan, and it ended up being a long-term plan. So I, at the age of 18, said, this is where I want to be. I want to come back to Israel. And I did a Mechina program in Hebrew U. And then I was a lone soldier in paratroopers. And then I got my degree in social work in Hebrew U. And married an Israeli. And of course, we had to go and leave Israel for a few years. A few years later, 2010, I came back with my family, 4 kids, and since then had another one. My oldest one is 21, and he's now in the army. And my youngest one is just sending me messages telling me she needs to be in bidud. The life today. Reality of Corona. And so thank God we live in Israel. I feel like it's a big zchut to be here. We really have lived in a lot of communities and it's been amazing. I definitely would love one day to live by the beach. I'm a huge beach bum, so Ashkelon sounds amazing. 5 years ago, one of my brothers decided to make Aliyah and came here, and my husband, who's Israeli, set up his whole life for him. I was unfortunately in the States. My father was very sick and passed away that summer. So my husband was here with the kids. And he set up the whole life for my brother and my sister-in-law. He got them a home and a car and registered the kids for schools. And take into account that my brother speaks Hebrew fluently. And after a year, he said to me, it's just so difficult making Aliyah. How do people manage? And so that's how we really started Olim Advisors. We felt that people needed guidance. They needed support when they come here. They needed someone to speak to beforehand about communities. What Kim's doing, I think this is the most unbelievable thing. The fact that people can go on these webinars and hear from people in the communities about the different places. It's such a huge resource. So we really offer guidance to our clients. They sign up 6 to 12 months before they make Aliyah. And then we help them 6 to 12 months after Aliyah. We go with them once they get to Israel to all the different appointments, whether it's Misrad HaPnim or the bank or Misrad HaKlita, all the things that people are scared of. We go and we make it easy and smooth and not as scary. And we feel like it's a huge difference. The people that make Aliyah and have a support like that, it's manageable suddenly. You have someone to turn to. Even if people have friends or family, everyone's busy. A few tips, just things that I see also with people that have a successful Aliyah, those that come here with a positive attitude and feel like, you know, this is a place to be, not, oh, Israel's not good for this reason or that reason. I feel like their kids are so much more positive. They're so much more positive. Learn as much Hebrew as you can beforehand. I'm not sure who on the call, if there's mostly people in Israel or some from overseas, but if it is people, some from overseas, it's so important to learn the language. That's a huge thing. The fact that you can walk into a store and you can go to the gas station and speak to the teacher. I know it's difficult, it's challenging, but that's a huge help. And reach out to us if you have any questions whatsoever. We're always happy to help, whether you sign up as a client or not. We're helping people all the time. We have a new Facebook group you can join and ask questions there. It's called the Anglo Support Network in Israel. And this is a place to be. I think there's so many amazing communities here. And I think what Kim does, and it's true, a lot of people do go to Netanya, Ra'anana, Ramat Bet Shemesh, Jerusalem, but there's so many other wonderful neighborhoods. The true Israel, maybe in some ways, or whatever. Everything's Israel. Anyway, this is wonderful, and everyone should have
Thank you so
atzlacha.
much, Laura. Thank you. And just a reminder, just Olim Advisors, olimadvisors.com is the website. And the new Facebook group, which I'm a moderator on as well, is the Anglo Support Network Israel, and it's fabulous. And there's all people there, professionals who can answer your questions. They have a health webinar happening this week as well. It's just an abundance of information for anybody. I'm on a lot of WhatsApp groups. I'm on a lot of Facebook groups. This is the Facebook group. You can delete everything else and stay on this group because this is, to me, the most professional and accurate information you're going to get on this Facebook group. So sign up to it. Thank you, Laura, so much for coming on. Much appreciated.
My pleasure.
Yes, I'm going to post it on the chat, or Devorah, who works with me, will post all what we're saying on the WhatsApp chat. And just,
also, there's a lot of things going on about 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms.
Yeah, don't worry. We're going to talk about, Shamis, we're going to talk about real estate at the end of the call. We'll talk about like we do. We'll talk about David will come on and talk about all the opportunities that are available. I want to keep that until the end. Okay. Okay. So Mike and Devorah, hi, how are you? You can unmute yourselves. Hi.
Hi, can you hear us?
Yes, we can. Hi.
Okay. I'm Deborah's Webner. Hi.
I'm Michael.
We've been living in Israel for 26 years, and we are living now in Ashkelon 2 years, almost 2.5.
You're a little bit echoey.
In Ashkelon.
How's your internet? It's a little bit.
I'm a realtor.
Hold on 1 second. Is it me? Can you all hear them? Or is it just me?
No, it's very choppy, Kim.
It's a very choppy connection.
Let me try.
Maybe get closer to the router.
Okay. I'm going to sign off and then sign on another computer. Maybe that'll help.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Janet and John T to talk. Okay, then. Hi, Janet and John T. Where are you? Did you disappear? Oh, there you are. Oh, hello. Hi. How are you?
Very nice to meet you all.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm John T. and this is Janet. And John T. and Janet's Webner. And our claim to fame is that I'm David's brother. And Michael is also David's brother.
And we've got a whole family affair going on here.
So this is actually a family affair. Both Janet and I came to Israel many, many years ago, both in our teens. We were about 18 years old. We met here, we married here, and we brought up 4 lovely kids. We lived many years in, we started in Yerushalayim, and then we lived in Beit Shemesh. And it's just almost 2 years that we moved to Ashkelon. We were introduced to Ashkelon really from David. David was the one who first came here. And we would come occasionally for Shabbat. And then Michael and Deborah actually decided to buy a place over here. And we were quite happy in Beit Shemesh. You know, what you don't know, you don't miss. And so we basically were just in Beit Shemesh. We reached a stage where Janet was beginning to worry or to think about our retirement. And she goes, well, I don't want us to retire in Beit Shemesh. We want very much to get back to Yerushalayim. At Yerushalayim, prices are exorbitant. And then Michael and Deborah took the plunge, and they just went and they bought a place. And Deborah said she wants, and Janet said she wants to be by the sea. Michael and Deborah took the plunge and bought an apartment here, and that sort of pushed us. And it just so happened that a little while later, in the same building as Michael and Deborah, this apartment was given back to the Kablan, and it came on the market, and we decided to take the plunge and follow. We've never been beach people. You know, we would hardly go to the beach, but since coming to Ashkelon, I think it's been one of the most amazing, life-changing scenarios for both of us. We feel like we're on vacation all the time. I still work. Janet also works, but she works mainly at home. But I work, and just like I think he's Uri, I'm also in high tech in Tel Aviv. Since the corona, I'm working from home, which is just amazing. One of the biggest things you asked about the trains, yes, it takes about 45 minutes to Tel Aviv. But the fact is that there are 4 trains an hour here, and it used to take me the same time from Beit Shemesh, where there was only 1 train an hour to get to Tel Aviv. So as far as transport, it's been amazing. Every day, for the last, as I say, almost 2 years here, every single day we go for a walk in the morning. without fail every single day.
1 to 2 hours.
1 to 2 hours. We've got the national park just down the road here, which is just phenomenal. And the whole beach and pier and the sundial and whatever, and going anywhere, you know, it doesn't even have to be by the beach, just going into the city, walking. It's just wonderful. The people are lovely. We don't have a bad thing to say about it. And what I like to say is that basically we bought a holiday home in Ashkelon, and we decided to live in it, and that's it.
Amazing. So you all live in the same building?
Michael, Deborah, and Janet and I, we live in the same building. They're our upstairs neighbors. David is across the road, and we have wonderful friends here. You heard from Beth already. That there's a lovely, lovely community, Anglos, Israelis, and just lovely people.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. And I'm going to cross over to Marvin. Thank you for being so patient, Marvin.
Hello, how goes?
You've got such a smarty, friendly face. And you've been so patient.
Well, it helps with 3 children all under the age of 10.
Oh, my goodness.
So my oldest son is 9 years old. My daughter is 7 years old. And then my youngest son is 3 years old.
Wow.
So a little bit about myself. I made Aliyah in 2007 from St. Louis, Missouri. I made Aliyah by myself. I had, I didn't know anything, came here fresh. I met my wife, who was Israeli, in 2009. We were married 2010. We lived in Hashmonaim for about a year, and then from Hashmonaim we moved to Ramleh for about 4 years, and then from Ramleh we moved here to Ashkelon, where we've been living. We're actually very, very lucky. We were actually looking to buy in Ramleh, and we just couldn't find a place that was the right fit for us. We weren't really happy there, and I actually suggested checking the housing market down here. Coming from St. Louis, Missouri, for anyone that doesn't know, it's in the middle of the United States, so it's landlocked. And I really wanted the ability to go to the beach whenever I wanted to. I've always considered myself a seafaring person, although I don't necessarily like swimming in the ocean. But I like the waves and the smell and just the overall feel of it. So we looked at a few houses, and we're actually very, very lucky. We found a house with a nice park right off of our balcony. Bunch of playgrounds for the children in the area. We're maybe a 40-minute walk to the beach, and by car, no more than 7 minutes, and we're at the water. It's a really nice climate. Also, we were actually just at the beach today with my children. They totally revamped the marina. So there's a nice boardwalk now. It stretches for about 2 kilometers, I think, a little over, about 1.5 miles, if I'm not mistaken, from start to finish. There's also a religious beach for anyone who's interested. And we're just really, really happy with our choice. I believe it was Sarit, if I'm not mistaken, who said that, like any place, it has its ups and its downs, of course, and it is what you make of it. But between Hashmonaim and also Ramleh, this is by far the best choice we could have made.
That's amazing. And are the kids in school now or not? Some of the kids.
Yes. So they are in school.
Tell us about which schools your kids go to.
So both of my 2 oldest children both go to the same school. My oldest is in 4th grade, and my daughter's in 2nd grade. We're very, very happy. The teachers maintain a very close relationship with us. There's very good communication as far as what's happening in the classroom, what they need. My son does have ADHD. And the teacher has always been very understanding. She's always had good communication as far as what happened in class, what we might want to help them with or help them focus on at home. Same thing with my daughter. They've just flourished, which was the opposite of what was happening where we were living before. We felt they were very stifled in their education, and here they're flourishing. We couldn't be happier.
That's amazing. Now, I actually wanted to ask Uri, but I know you and Uri have like really, there's a whole new, I believe like Anglo young community happening.
Yes.
And you guys have really put so much effort into doing that. So maybe you can share a little bit about I know pre-corona, obviously, but tell us what's going on.
So Uri and I, along with a couple other people, some of whom are no longer in Ashkelon, and some newer additions to our group, got together and decided to form a group much like what you're doing here, to help people that are interested in moving into Ashkelon, as far as providing a base and community. What a lot of people, including myself, have come to understand is that there's a huge difference between the Jewish communities outside of Israel and the Jewish communities within Israel. And that difference is, outside of Israel, the synagogue is the cultural center.
Yeah.
For Shabbatot, for Chagim, whatever the case may be, also learning. You meet there, you have your kiddush, everyone sees everyone kibbutzes and talks and whatnot, and it's very easy to build a community feeling. In Israel, everywhere is the community, and so a lot of people have a feeling of missing or longing for what they knew outside of Israel. And within the bigger Anglo communities, you do have that. Within the smaller Anglo communities, people are trying to build it, but by and large, it's missing. And so we decided to do is kind of at least attempt to recreate that feeling, but take it outside of the synagogue. So it's not necessarily connected to synagogue A or synagogue B, but we have, pre-corona, of course, we would have meetups at coffee shops once a month, things like that, just to get together and talk. We got together for different celebrations, whether it be 4th of July or Hanukkah or Purim, things of that nature, just to really try and get people connected and together. And it's grown even during Corona times, I'm happy to say. We were able to establish multiple ventures as far as food pantries and food drives, things of that nature. Also, as Uri stated, cleaning up the beach, a community day of going out and cleaning up the beach, things of that nature. And it's really been fun just getting to meet and know the other people within our community, because it's not a small city, but it's also not a big city. And so you have little pockets of communities spread out in and around the city. And so having these community gatherings gives people a chance to connect.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there any jazz appreciation clubs?
So as of, to my knowledge, there aren't any jazz appreciation clubs. So that doesn't mean that we couldn't start any. I would be more than happy to actually have a jazz appreciation club. At the start of Corona, I took it upon myself as an English teacher and also a dancer to kind of send out little dance challenges here and there, just to get people, up and moving about, and just kind of, keep a happy vibe going. And there were some people that, happily took part in it and were thrilled to get the challenge. And I really think that's what community is all about, is that even in the hard times, reaching out to one another and helping each other get through these challenging situations.
Can I just ask another? My children are creative, not in the box as such. I should imagine your children too. So where do they go for that energy?
So, like I said, there's a ton of parks in and around our neighborhood, and also throughout Ashkelon in a larger sense. There's a national park, you have the marina, there's playgrounds all throughout the city. And so there's really just a plethora of options as far as where you can take them and what to do with them. Just today, I took my kids down to the Marina Park, and this is a huge pirate-themed park, tons of slides and swings and things like that. And they always enjoy just getting out and running around.
Thank you so much, Marvin. Really cool. You should post your link on here. Are you on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, so post it down there if any of us want to
or Instagram, Marvin.
Instagram. Yeah,
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Ashkelon dance class. Anyway,
Okay.
Shomas, hold on 1 second because we are running late. Give me 1 second. We're going to come back to you. Is Michael and Deborah, did they get back on the call? Oh, there you are. Okay, let's try again.
Hi. Is that better?
Yes, much better.
Okay, there you go.
That's what Apple will do for you.
Okay.
So are you, okay, so you are upstairs from your brother.
We are 1 floor above Jaunty and Janet, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And we've had no complaints.
I was going to say, you don't move the furniture at like whatever time of the night and they can hear you. No, I'm just teasing.
You know, what happens in Ashkelon stays in Ashkelon. We don't have to discuss
I
that.
just want to tell you, I think it's absolutely wonderful that you were able to find an apartment in the same building. I'm glad you all like each other, which is very important, especially living in the same building. But I had my parents, I was very blessed to have my parents right next door. So I think if you can be with family, that is just such a win.
We're extremely fortunate because we made Aliyah directly to Beit Shemesh 26 years ago. And my husband, Michael, chose it because his brother and our sister, Jaunty and Janet, lived there. And he had been visiting. He had been working in Israel for 6 months with his other brother, David. And then I followed with the children and we made Aliyah and we went straight to Beit Shemesh. So we've always been close to Jaunty and Janet. And so when we decided to move to Ashkelon, we were very thrilled that Jaunty and Janet decided to also come along with. So, because we're very close as families and as friends, and it just was wonderful. So, but again, we have 3 children, they're all married. And our son lives in the United States with his wife and our grandchild. And 2 of our children, 2 of our daughters still live here. One is in Malay Adumim with her husband and son, and another one lives in Nokdim with her husband and their son. And as I stated before, we have been living here for 2 years. We love everything about Ashkelon. We loved Beit Shemesh. We lived there for 24 and a half years.
Wow.
But it was time for a change. And ever since making Aliyah 26 years ago, we started coming to Ashkelon from Beit Shemesh as our beach of choice. And over the years with our children as they grew up, and we would come here and we would spend Chag HaAtzmaut here almost every year because the beach was virtually empty. Everybody seemed to want to go to the forest. Nobody was going to the beach. We kept watching the development of Ashkelon, and it really whetted our appetite for a different way of life, an easier way of life, a more relaxed way of life. And when the time presented itself, we decided to pull the trigger and to purchase here in Ashkelon. And we haven't regretted it for a minute. It's just a wonderful place. And the park that they're all talking about at the Delilah Beach, at Chof Delilah, is now called Park Extreme. And they've invested so much money in this beautiful park leading to the beach. And our first Shabbat here, one of the things that really struck me as an Orthodox woman, a modern Orthodox woman, having lived in Beit Shemesh, we went down to the beach just to stroll. And there are people from all walks of life out on the beach in bathing suits, not in bathing suits, suits coming from shul, you know, religious, not religious. And it didn't matter who I passed. If you stopped and nodded and said, Good Shabbos, you got a nice Good Shabbos back. Whether they were secular or religious, it didn't matter. Nobody looked at the other and said, or pointed a finger.
You see, it's different.
So it was wonderful.
That's what I've noticed just by speaking to all the people on this call, that it's a very warm, loving community and very accepting. And I think it's beautiful and it's affordable. And David's going to talk to us now about real estate.
Real estate.
Where is David? Hi, David. Need to unmute yourself.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Okay. Finally, we get to see each other. I've spoken to David over the years over the phone. So
came from one South African to another. Kolakavod to you.
Absolutely.
By now, I think quite a few of the Ashkelonim know that South Africans were the ones who made Ashkelon and established it between 1948 and 1958, 1959. They designed it, built it, ran it, not for South Africans, but for new immigrants. It's a great city. I discovered it in 2007. I fell in love with it immediately. I bought my first apartment after being there for about 10 minutes. And decided to go back into real estate, which I've been doing since 1970, 71.
Wow.
I love the place. I came back a few hours ago, as you know. I was there for Shabbat. I spent time with Mike and Deborah, and Jonathan and Janet. Okay.
How far do you come from them?
I'm sorry, how far across the road?
Oh, okay, good. Or maybe we left out.
And I have to tell you, a scotch on the beach in Ashkelon tastes a lot better than a scotch in Yerushalayim.
I can see what you're doing on the side there. I've been watching.
There we go. Yeah,
I've been watching you.
I think it's him.
I'm still in the mood. Yeah, I'm still in the mood. So let me tell you what's going on, right? I believe that Ashkelon is the next Netanya, from the good points of Netanya, not the bad points of Netanya. Okay, people, Anglos, are discovering it, and I keep hearing from the locals saying, "Shh, we want to keep it just like it is. We don't want it to change. Don't keep on pushing Ashkelon. Don't keep on bringing people in." It really is nice. The people are nice. I think John T said to me a few weeks back, he said, "You know, we feel like we're on holiday all the time." And we're working. And I think that's the feeling that everybody gets. You know, you're busy working away in Ashkelon, but you feel like you're on holiday. Everybody's smiling, relaxed, laid back. You know, and it's not like you're not working, you're working. But it's laid back, much calmer.
Cape Town.
I had a nice meeting with Stephen today, all right? I have to tell you, by the way, Stephen, you're not going to push yourself, so I'm going to push you. He's the most amazing individual, right? Who, I mean, you can see what he's done with the website Ashkelon 123, which he just put together overnight. But he's a multitasking person, and one of his major talents is changing locks. And as quickly as I'm selling apartments, he comes along and he changed the locks. I did that this afternoon to an apartment we just sold. So he really is outstanding locksmith. Thank you, Stephen. What's happening with property prices? Basically, I specialize in
drop of water.
Sea-facing properties. I'm basically selling the view. I'm not selling the apartment, okay? Because there's something about sitting across the beach, looking at the beach, looking at the sea, that just does it for you. You just feel really good. I mean, Beth, I think you know what I'm talking about, because I remember the first place, you know, it's just something else. You're just looking at the sea all the time. You're not seeing anything other than sea, but it's just quite phenomenal. So that's what I sell. I sell sea views, and I have very little available. Whatever comes on the market, right, is snapped up in a second. Really, the place that I sold today, it came in the market 2 days ago. Somebody came down, took one look, said, "That's it, we're buying it." They came on Motzei Shabbat. I had signed, closed. Today we handed over the keys. That's what happens.
Man, it doesn't happen like that in Jerusalem.
Sorry?
Doesn't happen like that in Jerusalem.
It doesn't. No, it does not happen like that in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, in fact, there's a tremendous amount for sale on the market, as you well know. Okay, we're going through a period in Jerusalem because like oversupply, under demand at the moment. But Ashkelon is
Tell us
really
what one of these.
understaffed.
Tell us about one of these apartments, for example. What kind of prices are we talking about? Let's talk about a sea view. Let's talk about a non-sea view. Let's talk about more inland communities, what those.
Okay,
I know we're not going to hold you to it, but just give us a ballpark of what we can
I'll
expect.
give you examples. Kim, you pay a premium for being on the front row.
Of course.
For sea view, you pay a premium. Okay, the same apartment which will cost, let's say, 2.1 for five rooms, 4 bedrooms, sea view, front row. You can buy the same thing 2 rows back for 1.5 million. So you're paying really a premium of 400,000 to 500,000 just to have that sea view.
Is it 2.1? Hold on 1 second. I want to understand this because these prices are crazy.
Yeah.
2.1 is what? Is that a
million shekel?
No, but is that a renovated apartment?
It doesn't really make a difference whether it's new or it's renovated. It's not like you're going to pay less because I'm selling the view. Okay, so if you've got the view, you'll pay the price.
But
today, really what I sold today, and Stephen, you saw it, is basically 2 bedrooms with a lovely view, old apartment in a building which has been up for about 20 years now, right? 1.8 million. That's 2 bedrooms. Okay. Next door, 2 bedrooms are being sold for 1.3 million. Smaller, no view, but next door. Okay, so really what you're doing is you're paying for the view. That's what it's all about.
I understand, but a lot of people want to know about also new construction, like new projects that are coming up that are maybe 2 or 3 years away.
There are not that many new projects. I've got 2 projects which I'm selling now, and 1 which I'll be selling in about another 6 months' time. I'll be putting it on the market. Okay. Again, the prices there are ranging from 4 bedrooms, 5 rooms, about 2.2, 2.3 million and up.
How big is that? How many square meters is that? We're talking in shekels.
128 square meters with a nice balcony, with a 20 square meter balcony.
Okay. It's very good prices. Now, what about,
that's the sea view.
So you don't sell more inland, more of the other?
Now, if you're going further inland, right, you can get the same thing for 1.5, 1.6. Okay, when I say further inland, I'm still talking about Afridar. I'm not talking about out of Afridar. There's a whole new area coming up.
Are there any actual free, I'm just asking a curiosity, are there freestanding houses anywhere?
There are a lot of freestanding houses. In fact, there are more houses in Ashkelon per capita than there are anywhere else in the country, because the South Africans originally designed it for having villas, having apartments. It was designed as a garden city.
And what prices
a lot of people from, sorry?
What kind of prices would you expect to pay for like a?
Okay, prices, you can get villas today from about 2.7, 2.8 million and up.
Shekels.
On the front row, you might be able to get 1, right? For maybe 8.5 million shekel. There's nothing else available.
8.5 million shekels. Okay, for front row.
That's in the front row. Correct.
And tell me, is the beach? It's not like Netanya where you got to walk down 101 steps to get there. It's a flat beach.
No, you roll out of bed and you're on the beach into the sea. It's flat.
And how far away are these apartment buildings? 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters?
200 meters.
David?
Yeah.
Can I just have a moment? Okay, because everything, Kim, everything, and whoever's listening, everything that David is telling you, 1,000% true. 1,000%. But when you're talking about off the front row, okay, and David's giving you, I think, a very good view of what the prices are. But where we are, Afridar, I think David would agree, is priced differently than Barnea is priced, correct?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
Barnea, while they still have apartments that face the sea, and you get a sea view, they're further back, but the pricing is much different than this area, this pocket, where David has his apartment and where we have ours. And we are not on the front row as David is. We bought our apartment back in August of 2013. On paper, as it's called. We just saw the plans. And at the time, in a new construction, we had to wait 2.5 years before our apartment was ready. Our apartment on paper was almost $1.6 million. Okay. And then of course there's improvements. We paid for a machsan, we made improvements to our apartment. So this new construction that David is talking about, the prices are 100% correct. But in our area, I think it's becoming, at least in this pocket, it's a supply and demand issue. And that even with new construction that's not on the front row, the starting prices for apartments were relatively higher than what ours was. I have a 5-bedroom, 135 square meter apartment. Whereas now, the same price I paid for mine can get you maybe a 4-room apartment, if you will, and not on the front row, but in you know, a little internal. And we're about 200 to 300 meters from the sea. Now, Afridar, like David says, we can walk straight in. Barnea, however, is like a Netanya or a Herzliya. And in the development of the city, they're working on creating access to walk down to the beach. Okay, so I want people to understand there are other areas other than our own, but David's right, he is selling that view, baby, just like when people want the view of the old city.
Of course. And I was saying these prices, when I hear them, I'm like, oh my goodness.
No, you can still, yeah.
No, you don't get these prices here at all. I mean,
right.
I would say like for 2 million shekels, these are in areas that are not necessarily so desirable in Yerushalayim, and they nowhere near any great views. You know, you like to get to see, you see other buildings, but.
So in Ashkelon, you can still find, as David said, even if you're not front row, if you want to go further in a high-rise building, you'll still get a view of the sea, or over perhaps Park Ashkelon, you can still find prices that range from $1.7 million or $1.6 million and up, depending on where it's located.
Yeah.
So there's something for everybody. Yeah.
So what I want to say is that obviously, you know, there's a lot going on, and people can contact myself. I can put you in touch with David. There's so much development going on. And by the way, this is all over Eretz Yisrael. But I do want to say, from being a property expert and being in the business for many years, I have never seen such great prices as I have seen in Ashkelon for a beach town. I mean, Carmiel is also very, I mean, not Carmiel, sorry, Nahariya is also up there in terms of affordability, but I don't think as good as Ashkelon. And I think Ashkelon has a much more Anglo community. So that's why I think it also makes it much more attractive to a lot of people. Now, I'm going to bring up a question that a lot of people are that haven't asked, but I know that people have asked me. I don't know who wants to take the answer or give the answer, but I'm going to put it out there. The big question is about safety. So I want to know from the people living there, Uri, maybe you'll chime in.
Sure.
How do you feel about that? And Marvin, of course.
Me.
You're coming back there.
Marvin,
I want to know, because I live in the old city, and a lot of people ask me, like, isn't it dangerous? You live right in the old city. How do you live in the old city? I feel very safe here. I've now felt much safer here than I did in South Africa. So tell me how you feel on a daily, like, how many times have you gone to the bomb shelter?
Okay, so on a daily basis, thank you, Marvin. I'll go first. On a daily basis, I feel much more safer here than in Los Angeles any day of the week. Not even taking consideration having any missiles firing here, I feel safer here on a daily basis. When it comes to the missiles firing, it's not very often that it happens, but it does happen every once in a while. And we're very protected by the Iron Dome. We are very lucky to have that. And the kids got used to it. They hear the siren, they go to the mamad, which is the safe room, stay there for a few minutes and leave. Like, it's not, in the beginning they were scared, but you get used to it. And it's just, the idea, I think a lot of Ashkelonim can probably also agree with me that it's just a way of life. Like, you don't even think about it. It's like you have it, you move on with your life, and you continue living. You don't let it stop you from living a good life, because it's not going to go away, and you just have to live with it. But I don't feel any less safe than I do anywhere else.
Great. Thank you. Marvin.
So I'll expand on what Uri said. I don't necessarily agree that it's an idea of getting used to it necessarily, but understanding that that is the current situation. I grew up in the Midwest, in an area actually known as Tornado Alley. Every summer, without fail, we had at least 4 or 5 tornado sirens, and that there's nothing you can control. It is what it is. And you hear the siren, it's okay, I need to move and get somewhere else. And it's pretty much the same situation. You hear a siren and you need to move. All current housing developments, I think for the past 5 years, if not 10 years, not only in Ashkelon, but the entire country, it is mandatory to have a shelter within the house.
Correct.
So if your house is within, within that 5-year or that 10-year time gap, you have a shelter in the house. We have one. It's actually right there in our kitchen. Right there.
Yeah.
And, we have had to use it. And again, coming from the Midwest, if you had asked me growing up, Marvin, do you ever think you'll have to live through a air siren or an air raid? No, I don't see that in my future. Yet here I am, and I'm still here. I've lived through some easy ones, and I've lived through some rough ones. Like I already said, we have the Iron Dome. The Israelis tend to be a little bit more bold about it. They actually go out on their porches and watch the interceptions. I choose not to. Why roll the dice? I go to the mamad, but like I already said, also the children understand. They hear the siren, they run. They don't necessarily equate it to the idea of actually having rockets or artillery fired. My oldest son, last year at least, still equated it to bad children in the neighborhood breaking things. And we went with that for a while. But they don't have any trauma from it or anything like that. They actually make siren jokes from time to time. And I think that actually shows me and my wife as their parents that they have a healthy understanding of the situation, that this sound means just as it meant for me, there's danger coming and I need to go somewhere. That's what it means for them as well. And again, with every place, it has its ups and its downs. There are places that have a higher crime rate or a higher drug rate or a higher this rate or a higher that rate. And this is unfortunately one of the sub-costs, if you can say that, of living here. But again, we are happy, we are healthy, and we are still satisfied with our choice of moving here 5 years after the fact.
Right, great answer. Good attitude. Yes, who's that?
If I could say, so people living in the United States should understand there are 365 days a year, correct?
Yes.
If I cumulatively took the inconvenience, if you will, of a siren or Iron Dome, in living here 2 years, if I looked at it in a time concept, I think I've been inconvenienced 3 days. That's it. 3 days out of 365, because when the siren goes off, we all have our time to get into our shelters, and you're supposed to stay in there for safety's sake for 10 minutes, all clear, and come out. And then it doesn't happen again for God knows how long. So if you cumulatively took your 10-minute increments and added them up, I think there was only once in the 2 years that I'm here, there was a series of days, 2 days, where it just kept coming a little more rapid. And that was more. But if I took my other increments, I think I've been inconvenienced for 3 days. So I think that should tell everybody what they need to know about safety.
Yeah, I would like to add on to that actually. that when, especially me as an American, we hear about it in the news and we understand like rockets. We understand rocket after rocket after rocket all day long and all night, and you're just, you know, there's just rubble all around you. Literally, there have been times where it's one rocket. We call them, you know, like for 4th of July celebration. Someone got married, we don't know. Boom. And that's it. And we're done.
I agree with you.
and we're done.
If I can tell a funny story, we were barely in Ashkelon, maybe a week. And we were in a rental apartment waiting to get the key for our apartment. And I was sitting on the balcony and I heard, I saw poofs of gray in the sky. And I didn't know what they were. And then a siren went off and we skipped over to the shelter, like tourists, going, oh, this is our first air raid. The joke to end all jokes was, my brother-in-law David and his wife were in Lima, Peru, while we were in the shelter. David's gonna plot. And he sent me a video of what was going on outside my apartment. I had no idea what was going on, and he sent us a video of what was going on outside my apartment. And I'll never forget that.
That's hilarious.
If I can say something just to regarding the rockets, the truth is, as Deborah said, it doesn't happen that often, and it's more of an inconvenience. Having the mamad makes it very, you feel very safe, and you know your mamad is stocked up, and you've got your necessities like this, water over there. Our necessities include chocolate and whiskey. And you know, so we're very stocked up. But having said that, and you really feel safe, and it is more like an inconvenience. Being outside when it happens is not very pleasant. And if you're traveling or whatever, you know, and you're outside, and all of a sudden it's not very pleasant. Again, it doesn't happen so often, but people know what to do. And there's you know what to do. If there's a siren, you just go down, and you know you've got to be really lucky to have a rocket fall on you. It's not like these rockets cover a huge distance, so it's not that dangerous. And it's
yeah, and it's part of living in Israel, and it's not just Ashkelon.
Exactly, it's part of living, yeah.
It's Beersheba, and it's pretty much, you know,
and
a wider and wider range.
And I think that the most important thing that we learned being here was, especially us, from the first time we saw it, when we came out of the mamad, and you sort of look outside and you see that everybody just carries on with their business. It's not like everybody is now, you know, sort of huddled up in the mamad and they're scared to come out. There was a siren, it's over, and just life carries on, and people are walking down to the beach and going shopping and carrying on. And you know, it's just part of life, and you accept it, and that's it.
We're going to open it up to the floor soon, but I just wanted to ask before it gets late and people go. I have two of my amazing people who work with me, Devorah Ben Rosh, who heads up my marketing and projects and developments, and she's really awesome, and she also helps people with jobs, and we're trying to get as many people to make Aliyah and for this to feel like they can do it, and there's a support system. So I wanted Devorah to introduce herself quickly, and also Karen is on the call as well, who's amazing and also just made Aliyah, and she also works with us. So Deb, you go first.
Hi, everybody. Just a quick hello. It's so great to hear everyone and to meet everyone and hear these great stories. You know, living in Eretz Israel is, I'm talking to Olim all the time, who are on the way, and they're coming and they're thinking about coming, and like, it's still this dream. You know, for us who've been here for a while, it's like the dream has changed, you know, and, you know, like you're saying, like, okay, bombs are falling, and it happens, but we're in Eretz Israel, and we all do, I definitely feel that safety feeling, you know, like we're in God's hands, and this is how it goes. But life goes on, and we all, you know, like kind of feed off of each other, which is an incredible thing, which I think we're so blessed to, you know, to be here, and I think anybody who lives here, most people living here are very grateful for so many things in their lives. So kol hakavod to everyone who is coming and who is here, And I'm just a resource. I'm working with Kim. I live in Ramat Beach, Shemesh myself, and I'm mostly in this community, but I'm fielding calls from people all over with all kinds of questions and all kinds of community, looking for all kinds of communities. So I'm really happy to know about Ashkelon. I can't wait to come down there and visit you guys. It sounds really amazing. So now I know what's near me after RBS. If the next stop is Ashkelon, that would be my house.
Also, please feel free to reach out to Devorah or Karen or myself for a consultation about what we do. Is we are basically community matchmakers. So we go through and we try and find you the best community, whether it's Ashkelon or another community. We've done a lot of research. We can help you with the schools. We can help you with jobs. We can help you with a lot of different things, not just real estate. Karen, are you on? Is Karen on? She's on me. Hi, Karen.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I wanted you to introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Miller. Nice to meet all of you and to hear a little bit more about Ashkelon. I actually have relatives that are living in Ashkelon. I think it's gorgeous. It's so nice to always be near the water. You're mentioning that earlier. And I was just by the water the last week. It was such a gorgeous day. We have beautiful weather here. And it's so stunning. I said I had to go to the beach. So I actually went to Rishon LeZion to see the beach a little closer to me. I live in Ramat Beit Shemesh. I moved here just about 4 months ago, made Aliyah, and I'm so blessed and glad to be here. I actually joined Kim and Devorah in trying to promote more people coming to Eretz Israel, finding the right community, and getting settled here, even though it's such a precarious time and there's so much uncertainty in the world. There's one place that's home, and that's Eretz Israel. And there's no place that I would have wanted to be in. And everyone's saying to me, "Wow, you came during Corona." And I said, "Yes, I did. There's Corona everywhere, Baruch Hashem." And the only place I'd want to be during that time is here in Eretz HaKodesh. It's the holiest place, and everywhere you walk, it's just so rich, so beautiful, and so filled with holiness and kedusha. And I'm blessed to be here. And I welcome you to join us here. If there's anything we can do for you, Kim is amazing because she has all the resources. She's been around. She knows what the market's like. She offers amazing advice. If you want to talk to her one-on-one or any of us, I live here in Ramat Beit Shemesh, and that's where my focus is in real estate, but I do also field calls to other real estate agents as well as to Kim to try to find everybody the right community. But Kim is an amazing resource just to ask her in general about the market and what's going on, the right investments if you're not ready to come right now. And it's really important to get all this information and to see what's best for you. For everybody, it's really so individual. And so we welcome you to, to come here and to call us anytime. And we're here to help you in whatever way we can. Bruchim habayim.
Amen. Thank you, Karen. She is always so inspirational. I love it when you speak. I love it because to come during Corona is just such, it's amazing that you did what you did. Really amazing. And kol hakavod to you, amazing. And Karen also has an amazing inspirational Aliyah group on, if you want to put it down on the chat, Karen, for people to join up. We have an amazing team. We are buyer's agents. So people come to us with what they're looking for, and we will source the properties for everybody. So people can go on the internet and find lots of different things, but there's no what they call a multiple listing service in Israel. There's not like Zillow. So people find it very confusing. They go on to all these different websites and they don't really know what's relevant because sometimes the agents unfortunately don't put current listings on. It's there just to lure you in, which is not great. So they will come to us and say, okay, this is what we're looking for. And we will try and source properties for them. And we work with amazing people like David, who has a lot, obviously, of the market in Ashkelon. But that's how we work. We partner with other agents. And people are asking before I haven't forgotten you. I know you're waiting for a question, to ask questions. I just wanted somebody to answer from the group. I know it's Corona now, but pre-Corona, tell us just one or two things very quickly about the community, the shuls, what's available for people, whether it's Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Modern Orthodox, Chabad, what's available in Ashkelon for people? Anybody want to go first?
Well, Because nobody else is answering, I'll say that yes to all of the above. It's an Israel city. There's certainly in our area a very large Sephardi synagogue, and I know that there's pockets all around the city of small Sephardi, larger Sephardi. The Anglo in the Afrodar area, there's one very large, almost like the central synagogue is a modern Orthodox B'nai Akiva type shul that I think, David, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was built by South Africans. It rivals many conservatives. The building itself will rival conservative synagogues in the States. It's a beautiful building with stained glass windows and a balcony and gorgeous chairs, and it's just lovely. Near the beach, there's a newer, smaller Orthodox and predominantly Anglo community now that's starting a shul. During Corona, it's been out on the balcony or a breakaway already in the park because the balcony got crowded. So what's going to come together after Corona will be seen, because in the last 9 months, so many people have moved here. I can't imagine that there's enough space in the small beachside shul to accommodate everybody. But throughout the city, there are shuls all around. There's Chabad in a couple of locations. And I think I posted already that there is a very active conservative synagogue as well that does a lot more community events than davening type events, but they have a very strong following and a number of Anglos that go there. That's what I experienced in the last 2 years.
I just want to add also that the head Chabad rabbi of Ashkelon is actually Anglo. He's from Detroit, so he's an English speaker as well, and all of his kids are rabbis at different Chabad shuls in the area who are less fluent in English, but they get by. But he is the head rabbi in a Chabad here, and he runs the Central Barnea Ashkenazi shul, which is also a very beautiful shul.
Great. So I know Stan has been wanting to ask a question. So I'm going to open it up to the floor. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, if anybody has to go, that's fine. Thank you so much. It is such a wonderful community. I'm so impressed. You're coming onto my top 3, guys, Ashkelon. I have my already. You're pushing out other communities now because I just love it so much. It's so wonderful. I'm excited to come to Ashkelon. I'm going to have to save up a lot of money and sell a lot of houses in Yerushalayim to buy a house in Ashkelon. It's going to just have to happen. I'm going to have to do it. I don't know how, but it's going to have to happen. Okay. So I want to open it up to the floor. Stan, you had some questions.
Yeah, I'm on. Hi there. Yeah. Sorry, it seems to me, hello everybody. How's it? From Cape Town. I'm actually from Cape Town. I'm in Cape Town at the moment. So hello.
How's the weather?
The weather's like real summer. We're at the sea. We're in Sea Point.
Beautiful.
From Sea Point, whoever knows where Sea Point is.
Of course.
And I was just, I'm actually making Aliyah.
So you know, Stan, it's summer here in Ashkelon as well at the moment.
I believe so. The reason why actually I'm making Aliyah at the end of the month, and I see that maybe it's actually in Ashkelon already, and that's why it's a little bit different. I'm surprised that there are not more people from coming to Israel and making Aliyah that are looking into Ashkelon, that type of thing. It seems like everyone's living there already. Yeah. So I might be a little bit different, I suppose. I'm a bit older, but I'm single. I see that a lot of people are families there, married and that type of thing. I'm basically making a new start in my life, and I've decided I actually was in Ashkelon many years ago. I did a Sharut La'am program there. And I volunteered there. I love the city. It's amazing. I'm actually a bit of a surfer boy, pretty streetwise. Come in there. I know a little bit of Hebrew. So I tried to know, I actually, was basically looking at Netanya and also I might have a job opportunity there, but my heart's actually on Ashkelon. But I'm a bit perturbed about the work opportunities there. I mean, I'm in sales and that type of thing. I'm in sales. I also could be a supervisor. What type of work opportunities are there? I mean, obviously, you go to the big city, everything, if you look up, I'm on all the groups. I'm on all the groups, every community at the moment, Naria, to Netanya, to Renana, to Ashkelon 1, 2, 3, I know all of them. I've joined up everything. But the problem is the place like Ashkelon, everyone talks about the beach, which is great. I love the beach and I want to be there. It's a beautiful city. But if I come there, what type of opportunities are there for work? You know, and also I'm single. Is there a single community there? It seems to be obviously that everyone will take you in, and I just need to know these type of things, you know? So maybe we can just, you know, come in for a person from outside, besides that everyone's there. You know, that's the questions I'd like to ask.
Great questions, amazing questions, and I think it's all about networking and getting it out there. I don't know who wants to answer Stan's
I'd
question.
like to say something, Kim.
Yes, David.
Stan, one of the beauties of Ashdod is the fact that you have the train system which can get you to Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, well, not Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and Beersheba. And the tremendous amount of work opportunities, both in Tel Aviv, Herzliya area, and Beersheba. So when you go to the train station, you see the train station is packed with cars. From the morning, right? People drive up there, leave their car, take the train, going to work, come back again, and come back to their garden city. Don't look at what you can do in Ashkelon, look at what you can do in the country, because you're pretty well located in the country. That's the one thing, okay? Second thing, I just want to go back on the security situation, because when I came to South Africa on 2 Aliyah trips, tried to speak to people about Ashkelon, the first thing they said to me was, Ashkelon, Gaza, Qasamim. That's what came out of everybody's mouth. And you've already heard tonight about the fact that how little Ashkelon is affected by the Qasamim. But you should know that normally when something happens, you hear about Chof Ashkelon. Chof Ashkelon is not Ashkelon. Chof Ashkelon is the 4th largest area in the whole country. So it doesn't necessarily mean that something is affecting the city of Ashkelon when you hear that there was a rocket fired at Chof Ashkelon.
Sorry, I just want to say something quickly. That's not actually the problem. I'm not worried about the security. It's for, I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm coming from Cape Town. We have a great life here. I'm giving it up, and I just want to be close to the sea. And I think that we all want a community where it isn't so pressurized. You know, I'm pretty much to a laid back community. I'm a hard worker, but I'm also want something in between. And Ashkelon is actually the answer. And I actually know the city. So I'm not worried about security. Security is something which, you know, I'm very streetwise when it comes to that type of thing. But like, there's no work in Ashkelon or around Ashkelon. I mean, how? And also the rentals. Are there cheap rentals there? Rental apartments as well?
Stan, let me address the employment question. One thing I suggest you do is use LinkedIn and set up a search based on distance from Ashkelon. And what you can do is you can see on a daily basis how many jobs come up. You're going to find that when I lived in Toronto, I had a 45-minute commute to work, an hour commute. Here, expect something similar. And I wouldn't say you should expect to find any employment in Ashkelon, although there is a science park that's they will be starting to be built soon. There are some large operations that are national and international in the area, but I would expect that Rehovot, for instance, Yavne, is about a 35-minute drive, and there's a tremendous science park there, and each of those companies need sales. Go beyond that, and you've got Tel Aviv, you've got other places. So yeah, it's commutable, and the most important thing I think in finding employment is being on the train line, and because Ashkelon is on the train line. There's the train to Beersheba and to North. You have those opportunities.
If I could add to that also, you know, I did a job search before I made Aliyah. I did exactly what Steven said. I went on LinkedIn and actually applied for jobs while I was still in LA. I did several interviews on video conferencing beforehand and just got my name out there, got my resume out there, and just started to kind of see what the landscape was. And obviously I already had a career as a designer, so I knew what job I was looking for. So start looking already, start reaching out. If you know the date you're already making Aliyah, like start talking with people and start applying. Even if you doesn't, like none of those, for me, none of the interviews that I did when I was in LA ever panned out, but I got a job within 2 months of making Aliyah. in a company a very, very good company in Tel Aviv. And I'm actually right now at my second job since making Aliyah. And then once you get in the network and once you kind of know what's going on, then you can kind of make your connections with, with colleagues and everything to kind of branch out a little bit more. But definitely start searching now and start talking with people.
Yeah, no, yeah. Okay.
And, just start networking. It's all about networking. You got to get your resume out there. You got to network. You got to talk to everybody. I'm sure these wonderful people on this call, maybe can help you and direct you if they know anything. Sometimes you have to take work that is not necessarily what you reinvent yourself sometimes.
Yeah, it's very hard finding a community, like I said to you. But obviously, I want to be on the coast. I mean, that's part of the things that I want to do. I am single. I can do that type of thing. And is there a single community in Ashkelon? I mean, what's the, obviously a lot of them are families. I mean, I'm quite happy to. I've actually made quite a few connections with different people. And like meeting people. That's my idea in the beginning. Getting to know people, families. I'm quite welcome to get to know any families.
I'm sure you won't be single for long.
Oh, man, that's so nice of you, Shlomis. Thank you.
We're all checking you out. They're like, can I ask about Alpanim, please? Do you mind? Later, how you absorb new people in?
Yes. Okay. No, besides that, I just wanted to know if it's a good start. Ashkelon's a good start because they're definitely.
I think that in anything in life, you've got to give it a shot.
Yeah.
And nothing is set in stone. If it doesn't work out, move somewhere else. You've got to go where you can find, obviously, you need to make money, you need to be able to live. But I think
that's what the problem is. People that just what I'm seeing from South Africa. I mean, obviously, South Africa, the first thing people think about is work. Everything, when you look at the work opportunities, everything's around Tel Aviv, Netanya, Herzliya, that area there, Sharon area. And that obviously is what people think when they come into Israel. I'm giving you feedback of what I've seen.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Listen,
I would get in a plane and come straight to Ashkelon. I wouldn't even think about it, but then you worry about work. And also, I mean, the apartments, I believe, are quite cheap there. To rent and that type of thing and share, I believe.
Well, maybe you can find a share in the beginning. I don't know, but you do need to be, you can't come, obviously. We can talk about, I don't want to put it on we can talk about it privately, but in David, I'm sure, and some people can help you. But you do need a bit of cash. You can't come with nothing, obviously.
No, I got it. That's all right.
But I also think that's very advisable for you is to do an Ulpan. And I can from a person who dropped out of Ulpan because I was pregnant and was throwing up in the bathroom most of the time. And I never went back. And unfortunately, 18 years down the line, I'm embarrassed to say, my Hebrew is shocking. I'm like, Shalom Manishma. That's basically as far
No, my Hebrew is okay. I'll pick it up quickly. I lived in it many years ago, so I will do conversation. I'm reading conversational Hebrew, and I can understand lots, and I can read and write.
I say to everybody, and I get upset that I don't speak the language. My children, it's embarrassing, and it is. But I tell everybody I made Aliyah not so long ago, and they all say Mazel Tov. That's what I.
David's just offered Stan a job. So Stan, you have to send your CV to David. After him, I want the next job, please, because I'm also in sales.
Okay, has David got an email there? David's got his emails.
Yes, everybody's got. And I'm going to take Marvin's. I'm taking Marvin's dance class.
Oh yeah, I didn't know we were giving out jobs. I mean, hey, that's
Marvin.
Yes.
Ashkelon dance party.
It works for me.
You're gonna have to take us onto the beach. That's what you're gonna have to take us to.
No problem.
It's so cold in Jerusalem, by the way. I don't like this cold weather. Anyway,
I can happily say here in Ashkelon, we've averaged 16 degrees during the evening, and we're around 21, 22 during the day.
Nice.
Very nice.
I am happy.
So would I be.
Okay.
Is there any
Can I ask a question about the Alpanim? The Alpan, when we get there, how do we join them?
This is all taken care of by Nefesh B'Nefesh, and you get information when you sign up.
Right. I can actually chime in on that. So when you make Aliyah, you get what's called a Sal Klita. which is a benefit basket from the government, and it gives you certain benefits as far as purchasing homes or rentals, things like that, purchasing your first car if you choose to do so, purchasing appliances for your home, and it also gives you 6 months free Ulpan. After that first initial 6 months, if you choose to do another Ulpan, then you would be paying out of pocket, but the first 6 months are free. It also depends on which Ulpan you do. I went through Ulpan when I first arrived, and I admittedly am not that fond of classes, although I'm a teacher now. I started with 0 Hebrew, Shalom, Manishma, ועכשיו אם אני רוצה, אני יכול להמשיך בשיחה נורמלית בעברית בלי בעיה. But it really depends on, you know, your own interest in how much you want to push yourself and really acclimate. It's not necessarily difficult, but it's not the easiest thing, but the Ulpan does help a lot and it is free. And so that being said, when you arrive after you get your Sal Klita, you would do a little bit of research even beforehand, find out which Ulpanim are in your area. And then once you get your benefit ticket or your benefit package from the government, you go to the Ulpan, you register there, and then they just hook everything up between Misad Klita, the absorption center, and the Ulpan, and you're done.
Okay, Shlomo, I can also
very much. Thank you.
We can talk later. So maybe you're going to be not Tiberias, you're going to be Ashkelon now. I don't know if she heard me.
It's water. It's water.
I know.
And also, it's closer to Tel Aviv.
And look at these great people. I haven't done Tiberias yet, though. But I mean, hello. I don't think.
No, but Kim, what I'm saying is, if you've got older children that need to work in Tel Aviv or need to get to universities, it's a really good station, Ashkelon.
Absolutely, it's amazing.
Because then you've got your train, and the children growing up can get into the main place, central. So yeah, it's got that to it as well.
One of the most important things is that you're on a train line or on public transport has to be, you know, up there when you're moving. Because
can I ask a question other than just one more, please? Forgive me.
Sure.
You're saying Ashkenaz, and I heard that young man say he sends his children to Chabad. So does that mean that there's large communities of Chabad women there that aren't Sephardi that do cover their hair, or it's a bit trivial to men, but I'm just wondering the communities you know, apart from Ashkenaz, what other communities are there? Are there, I'm not Haredi, but are there other ladies that are there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Deborah's going to answer that.
Hi, Shlomit. Yes, hi. There are many women in Ashkelon who cover their hair. All right. And I would say that's all through Ashkelon. It's I would say about 70 to 80% that I see of women covering their hair. So if that helps you, I don't know in seeing these women if they're Chabad, if they're Haredi, if they're just modern Orthodox, but it runs the gambit from scarves to wigs. Very few women actually wear like hats, but it's more like Kim, very Kim. So it's more or less like that. But yes, there are. If that helps.
Is because the
religious speech. So obviously there's that need, I suppose.
Well, here it doesn't matter, Ashkenaz, Sfard, you know, a religious woman who follows that doctrine of covering her hair will cover her hair. So I don't think it's expressly one community over another.
Well, most
English for men. Like learning in the morning, my husband's Ashkenaz, he can speak to himself. You know, so you dream of having that continuous of some kind of shirim or talks or discussion groups, etc. You know, I know you did mention that.
Well, there are shiurim.
There are shiurim, but unfortunately right now during Corona, things are kind of not happening. But there's definitely opportunities. And Shlomis, I can put you in touch with a few people after the call, maybe, or any of you would like to just reach out and give your number on a private, chat to Shlomis, or contact me directly and I will pass on the information if that's good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to call it a night. It's been such a pleasure. I have to say it. I love Ashkelon. That's it. I'm sold. Absolutely sold. What a phenomenal community. Really special. And thank you so much to everybody for coming on the call. Please reach out to me, Kim. You can find me on Instagram, Kim Bash. You can find me on Facebook, Kim Bash. Kim@kimbashrealestate.com.